Somewhere in a landfill right now, there's a piece of plastic that once protected a smartphone, a wine glass, a piece of medical equipment worth more than a car. And here's the strange part. It was never designed to protect anything at all. Stop for a second and think about the last package you opened. The tape you peeled back. The cardboard you tore open. And that material inside, the one with the little air pockets you couldn't resist squeezing. You've popped it. Everyone has. Kids pop it. Adults pop it. Grown men in suits pop it in silence at their desks like it's a secret ritual nobody talks about. But almost nobody knows the real story of how it was born. Because the true origin of bubble wrap isn't a story about packaging. It's a story about two men who failed. And failed again. And then failed one more time. Before they accidentally created one of the most recognized materials on the planet. And by the end of this video, you'll never look at bubble wrap the same way again. Let's go back. Not to a factory. Not to a laboratory. To a garage. The year is 1957. New Jersey. Post-war America is booming. Suburbs are spreading. Television is changing how people live. And somewhere in the middle of all that change, two men are hunched over a strange, clattering machine in a small workshop, feeding two shower curtains through rollers at the same time. Their names are Alfred Fielding and Mark Chauvin. Fielding is the engineer. Precise. Analytical. The kind of man who tests everything twice. Chauvin is different. A Swiss-born inventor with restless energy and a habit of chasing ideas most people would call impossible. Together, they believe they are about to change the way people decorate their homes forever. Picture it. Two sheets of plastic, heat-sealed together, trapping small pockets of air between them like tiny glass bubbles frozen in place. Light hits it and scatters in strange, beautiful patterns. In their minds, this isn't just plastic. This is the future of wallpaper. Textured. Three-dimensional. Nothing like the flat, boring wallpaper sitting in every hardware store in America. They believe they're holding a revolution. They are about to find out just how wrong they are. Because when they bring this strange bubble plastic to homeowners, something unexpected happens. Nobody wants it. Not because it doesn't work. It works exactly as designed. The problem is something deeper. People look at it and feel confused. Uneasy, almost. It doesn't look like fabric. It doesn't look like paper. It looks like something from a science experiment, stuck to a living room wall. Retailers don't know which shelf to put it on. Is it decoration? Is it insulation? Is it packaging? Nobody can answer that question. Including Fielding and Chauvin. The wallpaper idea collapses. Now, most people would stop here. Two men, a strange machine, a product nobody understands, and a business idea already falling apart before it even begins. But something about this material won't let them walk away. Because deep down, they know they've created something. They just haven't figured out what it's for. So they pivot. New idea. New target market. Greenhouses. The logic seems solid this time. Those same trapped air pockets that failed to impress homeowners might actually work as insulation, keeping greenhouses warm during cold months, protecting delicate plants from frost. Picture the sales pitches. Fielding and Chauvin walking into greenhouse companies, samples in hand, explaining the science, demonstrating the insulation properties, watching potential buyers nod politely. And then say no. Again. Not efficient enough. Not cost-effective enough compared to what already exists. Two ideas. Two failures. Money spent. Time spent. And a strange bubbled plastic material sitting in their workshop with absolutely no home in the marketplace. Imagine how that felt. Not just professionally. Personally. Every inventor who has ever poured years into something they believed in knows this feeling. The doubt creeping in at 2 a.m. The quiet fear that maybe this was all a mistake. Maybe the bubbles were never meant to be anything. This is usually where inventions die. Quietly. Forgotten. A footnote nobody remembers. But history had something different planned. Because somewhere between failure number 1 and failure number 2, this strange bubbled material had found its way into the hands of a company called Sealed Air. And in 1959, someone at that company looked at it in a way nobody had looked at it before. Not as wallpaper. Not as insulation. He looked at it and saw something else entirely. Protection. Picture this moment carefully, because it's the single second that changes everything. An IBM 1401 computer. Massive by today's standards. Impossibly delicate. Worth an enormous amount of money. And it needs to be shipped, carefully, across long distances, without a single scratch or crack. Someone wraps it in the bubbled plastic material. It survives the journey untouched. Not damaged. Not cracked. Perfect. In that single moment, 2 years of failure suddenly made sense. The material was never meant to decorate a wall. It was never meant to warm a greenhouse. It was meant to protect the things people cared about most. This is the turning point in the story. And it happened almost by accident, almost as an afterthought, almost as if the universe had been quietly waiting for the right problem to reveal the right solution. Sealed Air rebranded the product completely. No more wallpaper. No more insulation. Now it had one clear identity. Protective packaging. And the timing could not have been more perfect. Because the late 1950s and 1960s were about to change global commerce forever. Consumer electronics were exploding in popularity. Mail-order shopping was growing rapidly. Businesses were shipping fragile products across cities, across states, across oceans, at a scale the world had never seen before. And traditional packing materials, crumpled newspaper, straw, wood shavings, simply weren't good enough anymore. There was a gap in the market. A real, urgent, expensive problem. And this once rejected material fit into that gap perfectly. Picture warehouses transforming almost overnight. Rolls of this bubbled plastic stacked from floor to ceiling. Workers wrapping fragile electronics, glassware, machinery parts, before loading them onto trucks and ships. What had once been dismissed as strange, impractical, even embarrassing, was suddenly becoming essential. By the 1960s and 1970s, this material had become a staple in packaging around the world. Companies adopted it because it simply worked. It absorbed shock. It cushioned impact. It reduced product damage. It saved businesses enormous amounts of money and reduced shipping losses. But here's where the story takes an unexpected turn. A turn nobody could have predicted. Because somewhere along the way, this material stopped being just functional. It became something else. Something emotional. Picture someone receiving a package at home, pulling back the wrapping, and instinctively pressing down on one of those small air-filled bubbles just to hear that satisfying, sharp little pop. Nobody taught people to do this. Nobody marketed it as a stress reliever. It just happened. Naturally. Universally. Office workers started popping it during stressful days. Children started playing with leftover sheets of it instead of actual toys. It became something people looked forward to, hidden inside their packages like an unexpected reward. This tiny, almost accidental behavior would go on to define the emotional identity of this material for decades to come. It wasn't just protecting fragile objects anymore. It was quietly relieving stress for millions of people, one small pop at a time. Eventually, this cultural impact grew so significant that an entire day was created to celebrate it. Bubble Wrap Appreciation Day, held every year on the last Monday of January. A strange, almost funny tribute, but a powerful reminder of just how deeply this material had embedded itself into everyday human life. Now fast forward to today. This material protects billions of packages every single year. It cushions everything from a small online order sitting on your doorstep to massive industrial shipments crossing entire continents. Entire industries depend on it. E-commerce, electronics manufacturing, medical shipping, fragile art, and antiques being transported across the world. Without it, modern shipping as we know it would look completely different. More products would arrive broken. More businesses would lose money. More consumers would open damaged packages instead of pristine ones. And it all traces back to two men, standing in a small garage in 1957, trying to invent something completely different. A failed wallpaper idea. A failed insulation idea. Years of rejection. Years of financial risk. Years of doubt. And one unexpected realization, almost accidental, almost too simple to believe, that changed everything forever. So the next time you receive a package, and you instinctively reach for those small plastic bubbles, stop for just a moment before you pop them. Because what you're holding in your hands isn't just packaging material. It's the result of two failed inventions. One overlooked observation. And a strange, almost forgotten material that the world nearly ignored completely. Sometimes the most useful ideas in human history don't begin with a brilliant plan or a perfect vision. Sometimes they begin with failure. With confusion. With two men refusing to give up on something the rest of the world didn't understand yet. And somewhere between a rejected wallpaper and a rejected insulation material, one quiet, almost invisible moment of observation changed the way an entire planet ships, protects, and cares for the things it values most. The next time you hear that familiar pop, remember. It almost never happened at all.